Macbeth is a play by William Shakespeare, one of the most renowned playwrights in history. Written in the early 17th century, it remains one of his most performed and studied works. It tells the story of a Scottish general named Macbeth, a valiant warrior who earns great respect on the battlefield. Macbeth is a brave warrior, but he is also ambitious. His ambition is sparked by a prophecy from three witches who predict that he will one day become the King of Scotland. This ambition leads him down a dark path. Encouraged by his wife, Lady Macbeth, he decides to take fate into his own hands, leading to a series of tragic events. The play explores themes of ambition, fate, guilt, and free will. It delves into the psychological effects of power and the moral consequences of one's actions. It shows how these forces can shape our choices and our lives. Macbeth's journey is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition and the lengths to which people will go to achieve their desires. Macbeth is a tragedy because it shows the terrible consequences of unchecked ambition. His rise to power is marked by treachery, murder, and madness, ultimately leading to his downfall. The play is set in Scotland in the 11th century, a time of political turmoil and war. The historical setting adds to the play's dark and ominous tone. It is a world of kings, queens, and battles. The struggle for power is a central theme, with Macbeth's ambition driving him to commit heinous acts to secure his position. It is also a world of witches, ghosts, and magic. The supernatural elements play a crucial role in the story, influencing Macbeth's actions and adding to the play's eerie atmosphere. These elements create a dark and suspenseful atmosphere. The play's mood is one of foreboding and tension, keeping the audience on edge as the story unfolds. Shakespeare's Macbeth is a powerful and disturbing play. Its exploration of the human psyche and the consequences of moral corruption make it a timeless piece of literature. It is a story that has fascinated audiences for centuries. The complex characters and intricate plot continue to captivate and provoke thought. It is a story that still has the power to shock and move us today. The themes of ambition, power, and guilt are as relevant now as they were when the play was first written, making Macbeth a timeless classic. Act 3 marks a turning point in Macbeth's journey. The once valiant warrior who fought bravely for his king and country is now consumed by his own dark ambitions. The crown he so desperately sought now weighs heavily upon his head, bringing with it a torrent of guilt and paranoia. He is now king, but he is haunted by his crimes. The blood on his hands is a constant reminder of the treachery he has committed. Every shadow seems to whisper of his misdeeds, and every corner of his castle feels like a prison. His fears and paranoia lead him to commit more acts of violence. The once honorable Macbeth is now a man driven by fear. Seeing enemies in every face and threats in every whisper, his descent into darkness is marked by a series of brutal decisions. Macbeth is deeply suspicious of Banquo. He remembers the witch's prophecy that Banquo's descendants would inherit the throne, and this thought gnaws at him incessantly. The friendship they once shared is now overshadowed by Macbeth's growing mistrust. He fears that Banquo's sons will take the throne from him. The idea of losing his power to Banquo's lineage is unbearable. Macbeth's mind is a storm of anxiety and dread, pushing him to take drastic measures to secure his reign. Macbeth hires murderers to kill Banquo and his son Fleance. This decision marks a point of no return. By involving others in his dark deeds, Macbeth further entangles himself in a web of deceit and bloodshed. Banquo is killed, but Fleance escapes. The failure to eliminate Fleance leaves Macbeth in a state of perpetual unease. He knows that as long as Banquo's bloodline survives, his throne is not secure. This act of treachery further isolates Macbeth. He becomes a king surrounded by enemies, both real and imagined. His court grows wary of his unpredictable nature, and his isolation deepens. He becomes increasingly tyrannical, ruling through fear and violence. The respect he once commanded is now replaced by fear. His subjects obey out of terror, not loyalty, and his kingdom begins to crumble under his oppressive rule. He is haunted by Banquo's ghost at a banquet, revealing his guilt and instability to his court. The apparition is a manifestation of his deep-seated guilt, and his reaction to it exposes the cracks in his facade of control. Act 3 shows us the corrupting power of ambition. Macbeth's insatiable desire for power has led him down a path of no return, transforming him from a noble hero into a tyrant. Macbeth's thirst for power has transformed him into a monster. His once clear vision is now clouded by madness, and his actions are driven by a desperate need to maintain his grip on the throne. He is no longer the noble warrior he once was. The man who once fought with honor and bravery is now a shadow of his former self, consumed by the very darkness he sought to control. In Act 4, Macbeth seeks out the witches again. He wants to know more about his future. The witches show him 3 apparitions. They give him cryptic warnings and prophecies. One apparition tells Macbeth to beware Macduff. Another says, "None of woman born shall harm Macbeth." The third apparition says that Macbeth will not be defeated until great Birnam Wood to high Dunsinane Hill shall come against him. Macbeth takes these prophecies literally. He believes he is invincible. He feels safe because he thinks no man born of woman can harm him. However, the witches' words are deceptive. They are designed to mislead Macbeth and lead him to his doom. Act 5 brings the play to its tragic climax. The once mighty Macbeth, who clawed his way to power through treachery and bloodshed, now faces the consequences of his actions. His reign, built on a foundation of murder and deceit, begins to crumble as his enemies close in. Macbeth's enemies gather their forces. The nobles who once feared and obeyed him now see an opportunity to overthrow the tyrant. They unite under a common cause driven by a desire to restore peace and justice to their land. They are led by Macduff, who seeks revenge for the murder of his family. His heart burns with a righteous fury, and he is determined to see Macbeth pay for his heinous crimes. Macduff's leadership inspires the troops, giving them the strength and courage to face the formidable foe. Meanwhile, Lady Macbeth, consumed by guilt, descends into madness and takes her own life. Her once steely resolve has shattered, and the weight of her sins proves too much to bear. Her tragic end serves as a stark reminder of the destructive power of unchecked ambition. Macbeth receives news of her death with chilling indifference. The man who once loved her deeply is now so consumed by his own despair and paranoia that he can barely muster a reaction. His soul, it seems, is already dead. He is too far gone in his own despair to feel much of anything. The weight of his crimes and the inevitability of his downfall have left him numb. He reflects on the futility of life, delivering one of Shakespeare's most famous soliloquies, "Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow." The prophecy of Birnam Wood coming to Dunsinane is fulfilled. The seemingly impossible prediction comes true as the forest appears to move towards Macbeth's stronghold, signaling the beginning of the end for the tyrant. Macduff's army uses branches from the trees as camouflage. This clever tactic allows them to approach the castle undetected, turning the witches' cryptic words into a reality. The sight of the advancing forest strikes fear into the hearts of Macbeth's remaining supporters. They advance on Macbeth's castle, fulfilling the witch's prophecy in an unexpected way. The once invincible fortress is now vulnerable, and the end is near for the tyrant who thought himself untouchable. In a final confrontation, Macduff reveals that he was not born of woman, but was, from his mother's womb, untimely ripped. This revelation shatters Macbeth's last illusion of invincibility. The prophecy that no man born of woman would harm him is rendered meaningless. This revelation shatters Macbeth's last illusion of invincibility. He realizes that his fate is sealed, and there is no escape from the consequences of his actions. The weight of his hubris and ambition comes crashing down upon him. Macduff slays Macbeth, fulfilling the witch's prophecy and restoring order to Scotland. The tyrant's reign of terror is finally over, and the rightful king can now ascend the throne. Justice is served, and the natural order is restored, bringing peace to the troubled land. Section 5. The transformation of Macbeth from noble warrior to tyrant. Macbeth's transformation is central to the play. He begins as a respected general known for his bravery and loyalty. However, ambition poisons his soul, turning him into a ruthless tyrant. At the beginning of the play, Macbeth is praised for his courage in battle. He is a hero, a defender of his king and country. However, the witch's prophecies awaken a dark ambition within him. He starts to desire power for its own sake. The murder of Duncan marks a turning point. Macbeth is consumed by guilt and paranoia. He becomes increasingly isolated and cruel. He loses his humanity, becoming the very thing he once fought against. Lady Macbeth is a complex and tragic figure. She is ambitious and ruthless, urging her husband to commit regicide. However, she is not prepared for the psychological consequences of their crimes. Lady Macbeth is initially presented as the stronger of the two. She is the one who pushes Macbeth to kill Duncan. She believes that they can achieve greatness together. However, her strength is a facade. As the play progresses, Lady Macbeth is consumed by guilt. She sleepwalks, desperately trying to wash imaginary blood from her hands. She loses her mind, becoming a victim of the same ambition that drove her husband to murder. The supernatural plays a significant role in Macbeth. The witches are agents of chaos, their prophecies setting the tragedy in motion. They represent the darker forces at work in the world. The witches' prophecies are ambiguous. They can be interpreted in multiple ways, leading Macbeth down a path of destruction. They plant the seeds of ambition in his mind, but they do not force him to act. Ghosts also haunt the play, most notably the ghost of Banquo. These apparitions represent Macbeth's guilt and the psychological torment he endures. They are constant reminders of his crimes. Language is a powerful tool in Macbeth. Characters use words to deceive, manipulate, and persuade. The witches use language to mislead Macbeth, while Lady Macbeth uses it to manipulate her husband. Macbeth himself is skilled with words. He uses language to justify his actions and to maintain the illusion of control. However, his words often betray his true feelings. The play highlights the gap between appearance and reality. Characters say one thing but mean another. Truth is often hidden beneath layers of deception. Macbeth is a timeless tragedy. It explores the corrupting power of ambition and the dangers of unchecked power. The play's themes of guilt, fate, free will, and the nature of evil continue to resonate with audiences today. Shakespeare's characters are complex and flawed, making them all the more human and relatable. Macbeth's journey from noble warrior to tyrant serves as a cautionary tale. It reminds us that even the best of intentions can lead to disastrous consequences. Macbeth is a play that stays with us long after the curtain falls. It is a story that continues to provoke thought and discussion, reminding us of the enduring power of Shakespeare's genius.